The 49ers have a lot of work to do on both sides of the ball this offseason. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into a possible hidden gem that shares a lot of similarities with a guy that just won the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. What is good, everybody? Welcome to another Gold Standard podcast. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. That man is Johnny Dell from the Johnny Dell Football Academy. Welcome to the Demonetization Station. This is where we take a deep dive into the film, and the NFL quickly thereafter takes all of our money. Johnny, how you doing on this Thursday?
Doing well. We're getting into the nuts and bolts of draft season now with the combine upon us. I think we're going to find some things out, much more clarity over where the draft boards start falling out here over the next few days, as data that a lot of NFL teams do have already starts to become more public. That is 40-yard dash times, that's 10-yard splits, 20-yard splits, but they do make decisions based upon three cones, short shuttles, the gauntlets, all that, the hand measurements, arm measurements. Some big news coming out about Ruben Bain and his short alligator arms, and wondering maybe will he be there at the end of the first round now? I don't know, but we're seeing all this stuff, and it's becoming this is if you're into the draft, this is like the next 6 weeks is the money period for the draft.
Yes, this is the sweet spot. We're going to take a dive. We have been already taking a dive on prospects. We did a wide receiver video. Last week, we took a look at some defensive linemen. Today, we're going to go to one spot where, say what you want about the Niners draft, they can draft this spot. They can draft linebackers, whether it's Fred Warner, Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman, Chris Borland. The run of 49ers linebackers has been kind of amazing. Fred's coming off a major injury. D. Winters hasn't totally stepped into a spot that, maybe they would have hoped. So they may need a complement at linebacker, and that's where we're going to go today.
100%. And, even before Patrick Willis, you had Derek Smith and Jeff Ulbrich, guys who were maybe a little undersung, but Jeff Ulbrich now being a hot commodity as a defensive coordinator. But I remember him with the Mariucci 49ers in the early 2000s. They were part of that team that had 3 shutout wins in one season. Jeff Ulbrich was a very good linebacker. Derek Smith obviously got supplanted by Takeo Spikes after Patrick Willis had emerged. And I remember Mike Nolan being asked, what's the difference between Derek Smith and Takeo Spikes? He said, about $2 million. And and so, he was one of those guys that was a top 10 linebacker in his era that we've forgotten about. But, the 49ers before then, Lee Woodall and Ken Norton Jr., they had guys who were very good linebackers. And I think it's odd because when you think about the 49ers, you think about all the offenses of the 80s and the 90s and the Shanahan offense, and you don't always think about linebacker. And we think about teams like the Bears or the Steelers as linebacker teams, but really the 49ers have an argument for maybe one of the best linebacker teams that has ever been. Really, when you look at back to the 80s all the way to now.
Absolutely. It's a spot where they've had a lot of success. Obviously, Chris Borland, we would have loved to see more of that. We only got to see the 1 year. So today, let's look at Bryce Boettcher. He is a linebacker. He's a safety turned linebacker from Oregon who was also drafted in Major League Baseball in 2024 as an outfielder by the Houston Astros. He said he's putting that baseball career on hold because, quote, they don't let you hit anybody in baseball, which fantastic. Love the mentality right there. Tell me more about him. What can I learn that I can't, find on Wikipedia?
So, you mentioned some of he's a walk-on in 2022 at Oregon from the baseball program. He was playing baseball there at Oregon, and he walked on to the Oregon program. So that means, he was not given a favorable walk-on status. He earned his way on to the team. There are some players that that are able to walk on, and they're given favorable walk-on, meaning they're given like a leg up, and it's a pseudo reserve spot because they're only allowed so many scholarship positions. So he was just a pure walk-on from the baseball program, and he was a left fielder, and that pedigree shows in his coverage footwork. One thing that you see with outfielders is their first step is backwards, and they take a roundabout attack to the ball because you never want a ball to get behind you. That's very much how he plays coverage a lot of times. We'll see that. He takes angles to try and not let guys get past him on outbreakers, converted safety, and it shows. He uses good leverage to advantage and attack angles for coverage. He attacks downhill like a safety from deep run support. That's what it reminds you of when you see him attack. He's a smart, headsy player who rarely is out of position and plays very assignment sound. He's a director of traffic and fantastic in coverage. Now, the knocks on him: he's slower than other linebacker prospects, and that will be a reason he's a mid day 3 pick and not a potential day 2 pick. We'll be surprised if his 40 time is sub 4.7. That lack of speed shows most 15 plus range. Initial 5 to 10 yard closing speed is solid, but hips are a little stiff. Often relies on hands in contact. If he fails to get a hand when he's in coverage, and if he fails to get a hand on guys, he can get beat badly. Plays like a safety against a run, avoiding blocks instead of defeating them, and can struggle disengaging from blocks quickly. Needs to add more thump against NFL running backs to prevent yards after contact. Traits are similar to an old school linebacker in a new school body, is what I put on there, because he's about 230, 235. And he played, the movement speed skills and everything are more like a linebacker of yesterday's era of 245. I will say, though, that those were the exact same knocks that people had on Carson Schweschinger coming out of UCLA last year, was that he didn't bring enough thump in the run game. He was a little slow-footed and stiff hips. Those were the three knocks on Schweschinger. Schweschinger ran a 4.7 last year as well. So just because a guy runs a 4.7 does not mean that they cannot play linebacker very effectively at the next level. And a lot of things about him remind me of Carson coming out of UCLA.
Well, Schlesinger had 146 tackles last year. And like you talked about with the speed, D. Winters has a lot of speed, but sometimes he just speeds right past where he's supposed to go. So it's not, you can't just look at one thing. You got to look at the complete picture, which is what we try to do on this show as we dive into the film. I know we've got some Senior Bowl stuff and we've got some game film against Indiana. So let's dive right in.
Yeah. So, it is interesting because the 49ers, I think, day 1 and day 2 are not their linebacker spot, especially with this team. I mean, you like D. Winters. You believe that Fred Warner is going to be back, and he's going to, for like the rest of his career, not miss any time. But I think one thing that they showed, and they've met with this kid multiple times. That's why we're looking at him. And I think he makes a lot of sense, because one of the problems that they had with Tatum Bethune has great speed, great closing speed, a lot of thump, was constantly out of position, was constantly slow in his trigger, was not great in coverage, was not great at communicating. This is like the bizarro Tatum Bethune. This is a kid who has all of those traits, doesn't have the speed and the thump that Tatum Bethune had. So it's interesting that they're looking at this. They do tend to be reactionary in those ways. So here we're going to see him in coverage, and you're going to see this left fielder action. They're going to run a little choice out, is what these running backs are going to do. And watch the way he kind of loops this out and then attacks the outbreaker on this. He's going to make sure to stay on it. And then there's that angle, right? He's going to go maintain his angle so that this guy's not going to beat him to the edge. So his steps are back. This looks like a left fielder going to cover a fly ball. So he's going to gain depth, get out there, and then cover the guy. So also understand, this is where the line of scrimmage would be, is at the 40. So where he makes his stop, that's a 3-yard gain. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, covering a running back out there. And this is tough for these guys in one-on-ones. You can see it there. That initial 10-yard burst is good. Once he gets past that, it's a little suspect. But you can see same thing here, same track. He keeps that angle so he can come downhill, attack guys, and it just maintains good leverage. You see that the feet here of a left fielder is what this looks like, and it shows. And he brings a little bit of nastiness. Now here's where we're going to see some of the knocks. So, we're going to see, here's where it works well. If these guys come out and they start moving vertical, his thing is, because he's coming downhill, he tries to make contact. And so that's allowed within the first 5 yards. You're allowed to do that. And when he can do that, it works out really well. Like here, he's going to get some hands on the guy, slow him up, and then he's right there in coverage the whole way. I like it. That makes a really tough throw for a quarterback. If you get that kind of coverage from a linebacker on a running back, I'm good with that. No flag. Refs are watching it. We're good. Okay. Now you're going to see a number of times when he can't get the hands on guys. this is where you see the knocks on his traits. So here he comes up here, whiffs, and that guy's gone. Better throw, that you're giving up a touchdown there, so we're going to see a number of these come up. This was where if he can't get those hands on guys, they're going past him, and he doesn't have the makeup speed. So here it comes again, whiffs to the hands, and there they go.
That's not encouraging.
I mean, look, no prospect is perfect. I'll say most of no prospects are perfect. We are looking at a day 2 pick here, but again, we're going to see throughout this, what are the traits we do like? Does this guy fit enough of the holes for them? Here, the hands can't get on him, he gets beat again. So this is a recurring theme with him. Is he's got to work on this of the technique here of doing this. Now, he didn't do a lot of this in college. Plus, that is one of the harder jobs for linebackers to do against these guys. Same thing, whiffs with the hands, and he's beat. So, I want to see better technique there. These are the traits of why he's not a day 1, day 2 pick. Because if you show only the highlights, people always say, well, why is he going to be a day 3 pick then? Why isn't this kid going to be, top 20? Because there are some knocks here. And so we're going to be honest about that. Now, when you see him in this short area, so this is really where it matters, though, for me, is on these short area choice routes. He's phenomenal. We saw it on the choice outs. Now on the in-breakers, he's right there. Batted ball down. He's able to get his hands on those guys, and that choice route, boom, he's there, breaks it up. He knows he broke it up. We're going to see it again. Comes in, the guy's trying to give the shake and bake. Boom, there it is, breaks it up. So his short area agility, short area burst and quickness, and his physicality, plays like a safety in coverage. You see it here. He's consistently able to get on these guys, break up the passes. So we do like that. Those traits are there. And these are in the individual drills. And these are tough for linebackers, but you can see he's got enough of the good reps here that you start going, okay, I kind of like what I see here.
And that's the area that he's going to live in most often, right? It's going to be the shorter area, closer to the line of scrimmage. Like, yeah, those clips you showed in the coverage were concerning. Sure. Anytime you see somebody, fail to get hands on somebody and then they just get beat deep, that's obviously a scary thing. But most of the time, that's not what he's going to be asked to do.
Yeah. And I think that's what we always have to keep in mind is, what are the 49ers going to ask him to do? I see him as somebody that they would maybe use as a replacement for Tatum Bethune coming down, or as competition for Tatum Bethune as that backup Mike, because they need depth at Mike. They need depth at linebacker. He fits the size profile they look for. They look for that kind of 6 foot, 230, 235 guy. Tatum Bethune, again, to me, I don't want to live that experiment again next year if he doesn't take a huge step forward. I mean, it's just like we saw that 34-year-old Eric Kendricks made the defense look night and day when he stepped in. The trigger was slow all year long. Patrick Willis talked about that on his podcast. He's like, I feel like these linebackers are just, a little slow on the trigger. He doesn't have that problem. He has other issues, but he's not a perfect pick. But they need somebody that can get in there, and if Fred goes down, can still communicate the defense. That was a big problem once Fred went down. Can run the show. You need a smart, headsy player there. And Curtis Robinson was kind of that guy, but he didn't have enough oomph everywhere else to be able to bring that up. So, and Curtis Robinson's a free agent this year. So I don't think they're going to bring him back. I think they're going to let him walk. So maybe they bring him back, but you need to bring somebody in to have competition at that spot for your third and fourth linebacker spots.
And it's a good point you bring up about Kendricks. Age 33, Eric Kendricks, how much speed does he have? Probably, he would run a 40 time that might scare you off too, but he uses from the neck up his brain, his experience, his intelligence to be able to go and make plays. And you're right. He came in there and you were like, damn, all of a sudden the linebacker play looks pretty good. So don't just get scared off because of a 40 time is what we're saying. We got more clips of Bryce Boettcher in 1 second. But before we get to those, just want to remind everybody again to go check out Sleeper. Download the app. You get a free $20 entry as soon as you do. Just sign up. You have some fun, make some picks. There's a billion sports going on right now. This is a tremendous sports time of year. You've got Major League Baseball starting, NBA, hockey's going to start up now that the Olympics are over, college basketball, March Madness is right around the corner. So go play. I promise you'll have some fun. All you got to do is pick more or less on different statistical categories. And if you get your picks right, you could win up to 1,000 times your cash. Sounds pretty good to me. And if you want to deposit money, use our code GSP. It's on the screen. You get a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. So again, opportunity for you to have a little fun. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. All right, let's get into more Bryce Boettcher breakdown. This is more from the Senior Bowl. This is during practice.
Yeah, this is the team drills during practice. This was mixed down, so they don't know if it's going to be a first for, so sometimes it's 1st and 10, sometimes it's 3rd and 1. They have to play different situationals. So here, one thing you see against a run, if he sees it and he sees that gap, he's going to shoot that gap. And when he can do that, you do see this is where the speed that matters to me starts to show. Okay, so they're going to run this off left tackle, and boom, he shoots in there, undercuts the pulling guard. There's that quick trigger you want to see. You want to see that. We didn't have enough of that last year. He's going to get in there with the quick trigger. Here he is, 46, right in the middle, green helmet, and he sees that puller, and then he gets in there and he undercuts this guard and takes on and gets to the running back. Now, they don't want him tackling, so he didn't, but he knows he made that play. He blew it up. So you see that here. He's in the middle again, playing this Mike spot. They're going to run off the right, and same thing. He's going to see this, and he's going to go attack it, pull that trigger, and I like this. I like the quick trigger on it, sees it, goes and gets it, and again, is there for the tackle. They don't want these. They wanted him to keep everybody up, don't tackle to the ground. Didn't want to get guys hurt in practices at the Senior Bowl. So, but you see the quick trigger. I do like that. I like his trigger on these things, how he diagnoses plays, and that first 10-yard burst is really where you start to see this. You're going to see it again. I got to figure out which run this is. So they're doing a little toss play out here. Here's Bryce. He's going to then come bursting through here and go chase this down. So we'll see him there. He runs that gap, and there's that 10-yard quickness that you're really looking for, that 10-yard burst. Here's where it matters, is him here. He's going to go get it. So he sees that run, sees it. There's the trigger, and there's the speed to go get a guy. And that's an NFL caliber running back there. So this is against Indiana in their game. This is a great game. If go back and watch this game. It was a tight game throughout most of it. Here he is, got the arrow on him. They're going to run a full sweep out here. He's going to get to the edge, maintain leverage against a blocker. So this guy's trying to get out on him. He gets out there with enough speed. He's going to take the blocker on with his inside arm, keep this outside arm free, and he's going to go make the stop there for a yard. So I like these things. I like that when he sees it, he's got that trigger and he's got enough speed to go out there and get it. And that's Kalen Black, who is a running back that I really, really like out of Indiana. Now, I will say he does need to add a little more thump in the run game, and this is an example here. So this is Kalen Black, again, a running back. You'll see one reason I really like this kid. And here's Boettcher. They're going to meet in the hole, and Boettcher does not win this one. He gets pretty good. Needs to add a little bit more booty in there, some solidness in against the run. Here you're going to see him up top. They're going to run this up here. And same thing. He needs to be stouter, stronger at the point of attack. They're going to run behind that, and they just pile right into the end zone over him. So needs to add a little more thump in the run game. That was something that, again, was a knock on Schlesinger coming out. So the big things are 15-plus yard speed isn't always there. Solid thump against the run game isn't always there. Want to see more of that. But what I do like, quick trigger against the run, and he's always in the right position. I love those things. Those are things that I can forgive other things with. I just want to see him keep his feet moving, not get buried there, because he's right here, 46. So he's going to get put in here, boom, and then he doesn't keep his feet moving, and he gets buried.
Yeah, he kind of is just standing there, and he gets taken for a ride. Another thing that might be a rule for him early on too is special teams, right? If Fred's going to obviously be the starter, they draft him later in the draft. He can contribute on special teams right away while he's on the roster backing other guys up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, guys got to make their name on special teams, especially if you're backing up a guy like Fred Warner. And you got to go make it. Now, here's where he really shines, though, is in coverage. This is where uh, I think he starts setting himself as a gem in this class. Is that I think he's one of the better coverage linebackers in this, and it comes from again the neck up. So here, this is red zone. This is red zone drills. So they're it's not red zone. It's 2 minute. So this is 2 minute, and they have a running clock on this. So this was set up. The clock was running out. It's near the end of the 2 minute. They've got to keep the offense out of the end zone and keep the clock running. And if they do, the clock runs out and they've won the period. So they're running Tampa 2 here in the red zone. He's the Mike here. He's got to gain depth and pick up anything from the number 3, but also then be able to rally underneath. This is tough work for him, especially in 2 minutes. So what they're doing is they're going to run this tight end on a little bender post and working that over the middle. They had won on this route earlier in 2 minute against this guy, the Will that was over here, and they ran this post over the top of him, and the quarterback nailed this throw in there for a touchdown or for a big gain. So here, Boettcher, he drops back, and then he's going to read the quarterback. His eyes are to the quarterback, and you see him work to this side of the field. So the quarterback says, I don't like that. That's not there. So he pulls it down, and he's going to look to hit the running back. So he's got to first take this bender away, then attack the check down that's there. And he makes the tackle, keeps the guy in play. And you can see this guy's signaling, clock's running. That's the end of it. That's all that they were hoping for in that, is to keep the clock running, situational awareness in the football, and to be able to pick it up from the previous reps. He works it over there. The quarterback doesn't like that bender post, comes up underneath, rallies to the tackle. I do like that. Let me see where the next one is. So here you're going to see where the individual drills translate into the game drills, team drills. So here we're going to get a running back on a choice route. So this running back is going to come out, run a choice route. He's in man coverage on that guy, or zone match. So he's got to come out and match this running back, and you're going to see that same footwork we saw is right there. They get a little dump off, and he makes a stop for a short gain. You like to see that this is where teams, they love to get running backs out on linebackers like this. This is Shanahan's thing, right? Is Christian McCaffrey, get it out there. And I love the way he attacks, closes it, and gets it. And he knows he made a stop there. So those are things that teams want to abuse guys, and he showed the transition from the drills to the team.
I like what I'm seeing so far, especially if you're telling me I don't have to spend a high pick on him. I do think the Niners could use some depth there, obviously. Eric Kendricks was nice last year, but if you could get a younger guy to fill that role instead of an older guy, hell, maybe you end up Eric Kendricks is on the roster later in the year again. You bring him back then, but give me the young guy. Give me the cheap guy. Also, he's going to be a lot cheaper. I would sign for that.
Yeah, and again, just understands the field. So they're going to run this little so they're running a little underneath here, and they're going to go over the top, and then they're running this running back out into the flat. And this is, again, where that kind of left field or peripheral vision works really well. He's got to be cover this running back out there, and there's some traffic for him to work through. So he's going to then work through this, keep eyes on the running back, undercut it, and then go attack it. And he's there for the running back in space, makes a tackle. Again, they don't want these guys to tackle in the Senior Bowl. I will just keep putting that because people say, well, he missed that tackle. Well, no, he's there. So you see the recognition, the ability to work through that's him lurking around up there. You're going to see the recognition, the ability to keep eyes where it is, and the peripheral vision to work through the traffic and go get the outlet. You love to see it. Here we're going to see him against Northwestern here at Oregon. So Northwestern's running this little Ohio stick. So they're running this out. He's the Mike right here. So they're playing cover one hole. So it's man coverage, and he's a hole player. So he's got to follow the quarterback's eyes, shade to the 3 receiver side, and then watch his reaction because they're going to run a little backside slant on this. So he's going to read the quarterback's eyes. He sees the quarterback running out here. Then quarterback starts moving, and he immediately goes and attacks where he knows the quarterback's going to want to go with this ball. Boom, breaks it up. So you see that ability to play that whole coverage. This is where the 49ers would use him. This is more along the lines of what they ask guys to do. And so he's got that ability to go cover between the hashes. They really need guys to cover between the hashes. I love the peripheral vision in coverage. So he's in man coverage on the running back here. And you're going to see him. He's going to read this running back, but he's still also going to keep a peripheral to the quarterback so that even though the running back's coming out here, once this quarterback pulls the trigger, he's moving towards the ball. And so he's there in position. So when this gets batted up, he's got it himself an interception. And he's off to the races.
God knows we could use more of those. After last season, it was brutal. Interceptions and sacks. It felt like game-changing plays were not there. So I like to see a linebacker that can actually reel one in.
Yes, that has there. You can see the skills of a safety. And he's going to go and make a guy miss, make some moves out here. Look at him go.
Not bad. Okay.
I like it. All right. So here he is. You see the arrow. Now they're going to run a little RPO. So this is against Indiana. So they're going to run a little RPO here, exchange, and then this receiver out here on a receiver screen. Again, the read is on him. So he knows once this RPO happens, if he takes a step down, that throw's coming, and he's going to fly out here like a banshee. So you see it there. He's giving them that fake. Oh, okay. Now he's going to go and pull the trigger and go get the tackle. So this is something NFL teams run. You like to see the quick trigger. I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but that is something that just jumps off the film over and over again. He's got a quick trigger, and I love that about him. He doesn't hesitate. He plays with that. Let's see where. Okay, so here again, same thing we saw at the Senior Bowl in these drills, these choice routes. He's fantastic against them. Against Indiana, you're going to see him here. The running back comes out. He's got a choice. This running back's got a full-on choice route here, and so he's going to maintain leverage to understand now he's going to break out. And so Mendoza, you can see, wants to go here with the ball, but Boettcher was there, took it away, and so now Mendoza's got to throw it away. So he covers the choice out. Here you see him. He's going to get out there on the running back. He's there. Boom. He's underneath it. Mendoza had nowhere to go with the ball. That is a coverage play, a coverage down by Boettcher on the running back. Love it. You're going to see, this is probably my favorite play of him. This is like a variation on the old Spider 2Y banana. So they're going to run this as a play fake up the middle, and the running back's going to then go into pass protection. They're going to bring this guy. Let me do him in blue. I want to do blue because we're doing this. So we're going to do a little Bob Ross, a little happy blue over here. He's going to act like he's doing a block on a kick out, and then he's going to run to the flat, and they're going to have this little banana route on a corner route and clear this out. So this is Boettcher is in man coverage on this guy. So this is hard work for him. He's got to read the run and then go cover this guy to the flat on a full run. And so this is just fantastic work. You're going to see him read it, and then boom, there's the explosion to go get it and make the tackle. That is way harder than it looks to be able to read this as run versus pass and then go cover this guy running out to the flat. Man, I really like this. Like, he reads that as pass the whole way, doesn't bite on the run, and that trigger to pull on the play to go make it in that 10-yard burst. That's really where you see it, that 10-yard burst. Here again, gonna see how he plays coverage, understands where he needs to be. They're running what's called a rub corner route. So this is meant to run interference on him against the running back to the flat. They want to get the running back into the flat. They're trying to run this rub corner so that he will get interference, and they'll be able to get this running back in the flat for a big gain. That's what Indiana wants to do. And you see him here. He's going to work over the rub corner and then go attack the running back and make a solid tackle right there. I mean, this is 100% designed to get interference on him, and he's going to work over that interference and attack this and make an insta tackle. This is like instant noodles. It's an insta tackle there in the flat for 2 yards with a good solid tackle. Love it. As a coverage linebacker, he shines.
I don't know if we're allowed to say this now that Robert Sala's the head coach of Tennessee, but they always talk all gas, no breaks, right? That's what the 49ers constantly pound about everybody, not just linebacker play, defensive lineman, whoever it is. You've shown a number of plays now where he sees it, reacts quickly, and just goes and gets it. And he, maybe because of his lack of speed, he kind of figures like, I sort of need to start early. I need to figure out how to recognize this stuff early because otherwise I won't get there in time. But from the clips you showed, it looks like he's figured out a lot of things. And again, we're talking day 3 draft pick here. There's a lot to like.
There really is. And it's another reminder that, you know, when we get into day 2 and day 3 of the draft, there are still a lot of players who have incredible potential and there's a lot of upside and you're just looking at less Swiss Army knife, more Bowie knife kind of guys, right? Like they're going to be guys who can't do 100 things really well. They can do like 2 things, 3 things really, really well. And so for the 49ers, it's what do you need in your system? And how do it's really about system fit guys in days 2 and 3. And that's why the 49ers, because they tend to draft for that. It's why they tend to miss on some of the early round picks because they draft all traits, not necessarily system fits. And then once it gets into the second and third days, as far as I understand, it's more about their position coaches and their scouts that have more to do with that. And it's about, these are guys that we think would fit what we are going to ask them to do. Mm-hmm. And these are the very specific trait guys. And when they ask them to do those things, they shine and they do really well. And this is somebody I think would be very interesting. It's going to be, watch out for him to, when that kind of 4th round starts, I think that's when we start on the Boettcher watch.
I like it. I mean, I like his personality too. From what I've seen, I had the line earlier about they don't let you hit anyone in baseball, which is why he's putting his baseball career on hold. He said he recognized John Lynch when he met with him. He was like, "Oh my God, my dad loves this guy." Of course, like former safety recognizes John Lynch. That makes a lot of sense. I like the mentality. I like some of the physical things you've shown. Definitely something to watch for on day 3. We appreciate the breakdown, Johnny. If you want more film breakdown, check out the Johnny Dale Football Academy on YouTube. It is tremendous. Please give it a subscribe, give it a like. You will find a ton of breakdown there for you. And of course, Johnny will be with us every single Thursday as well. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk next week.